Yeah, thanks.
All right, we are live and ready to let these very eager participants in here. I see some familiar faces. That's always fun, and we'll give people a chance to move on in, find the chat button because I know you're going to want to engage. I know some of you because some of you were here recently with me and you were very engaging. So I have no doubt that once again you're going to have questions and you're going to want to chat away if nothing else. It's going to be a small group today, so when we get to questions and things, I'm sure we can trust everybody and we can unmute and let you actually voice your questions when we get to that stage. But for now, you can use the chat. It's free. Let's remind people we don't charge you for that. We don't charge you for anything here. It's a free session. All right. So let me just tell you a couple of quick reminders. Um, I feel like the infomercial. I gotta do the little show at the beginning, but we'll get you over to Jean in just a moment. We're gonna pass it over in just 1 second. But first things first, want to remind you today's session, along with most of our sessions, are recorded, and they will be one of two places. They'll either be shared publicly on our YouTube channel, which is usdla.tv. If you're not already subscribed, please go over there. You'll find lots of great content, webinars you missed, other things that we add in there very sneakily. Might not even be a webinar we did. We have some partners who say, "Hey, we have this really cool stuff we'd love to share with your community." So go check that out. Um, some of them, however, are in our member portal because membership participation does matter. That is how we make all of this happen. We're a membership association. And so if you are not already a member, we'd love to invite you to consider becoming one. We have multiple levels, whether you're an individual, institution, profit, nonprofit, retired, we've got it all. So if you have any questions about that, we're happy to answer them. You can always go to usdla.org and find some information or just talk to me at the end. I'll get you directed to the right location. All right. Last thing I just want to mention really quickly, because it's like right here at us, is that next week, I can't believe it's already here, starts the virtual component of our annual conference. So we have 2 full days of programming. That's on the 16th and 17th. If you're not already registered, we still have spots because it's virtual and we can make as many seats as we want. We also still have spots on site as well. If you can make it to Cleveland or you happen to be in the Cleveland area or you know someone, June 22nd to 25th, we will be on site in Cleveland. Many of the things will also be broadcast from there. So if you are a virtual conference attendee, you'll also get access to our keynotes, some additional special sessions that we are running from our main ballroom, including virtual field trips, some additional speakers, all sorts of things. You can check that out. I can provide more information about that. And then at the end, of course, you'll get access to all of the recordings and you'll be a member with us for the year. So, all sorts of wonderful reasons to consider coming to the conference, joining as a member, doing all the things. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And I am so honored and pleased to pass things over now to I think Jean's going to speak first. I'm going to pass it over to Jean, and we're going to get started with today's webinar. So, thank you all for attending today.
Hello, you can hear me, right?
Yes, you're good to go now.
Oh, all
Perfect.
right. Thank you, Valerie. Yeah, so welcome here. Really, it's a very good privilege to share with the folks we are all working on the remote learning. So here, my name is Jing, I'm CEO and co-founder of Learning Genie. So actually, we have been working with lots of CT program and also some of the college dual enrollment program as well to build highly engaging learning experience with on-site students and also remote students as well. So we also have a Tony Fiori from Fresno USD, who is a experienced leader in charge of Farber Academic Center. So today we really want to share, also discuss with you, right, about, okay, so what is the AI and how to get student engaged. So there are more of a strategy, but we want to also share some of the really can be a hands-on session. So we will share with you some of the links so we can all build something together and see whether that will be solve some of the engaging problems. Yeah. Tony, I want to introduce you, and then do you want to continue the next?
Yeah. Thanks, Gene, and thanks everyone for being here. Like Gene said, I'm Tony Fiori, and I work in Fresno Unified School District out here in sunny California, where it's going to be 103 today. So whatever your weather is, I hope that you're not dealing with 103, but at least we're inside, right? So I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to be joining Gene in sharing our perspective here in Fresno Unified and the school I work at, which is called Farber, and how Learning Genie has been a great resource to our staff and kind of just to give a boots on the ground perspective of how it's being used at our site. But before I start, I think it's important that I just take a sec to, even before I share what's on this slide, to share just briefly about what our site is and kind of how we're built. We're a very unique school, Farber. We are an alternative ed school, but we actually house three different types of alternative ed within the same brick and mortar space in Fresno. Oftentimes you'll see alternative ed schools be, say, a traditional continuation or maybe an independent study. We actually house all three. We have a continuation school where students come in person, high school students. Obviously, continuation credit recovery, most of them are in their junior, senior year. We also have a independent study school within the same building, which is students coming periodically during a week to do the same type of credit recovery, a little bit of a different angle, more flexibility. And then lastly, within the same building, we have an online school. That is actually grades 1 through 12. And obviously those students are not here at our site. Those students are learning virtually still. And our teachers are here on the site, kind of in their cubicles, teaching the online students. So with those three schools all in the same space, we have various challenges that we have had to deal with, particularly with our credit attainment and our other students. We find or have found with our independent study as well that some of the issues that you see on this slide here have been an issue that we've had to try to find solutions for. Low engagement being predominant, students who are more interested in looking at their phones or just not doing the work, which leads to the middle picture, chronic absenteeism. Oftentimes those two go hand in hand, low engagement, chronic absenteeism. And that leads to completion gaps as well, where students fall behind. And so as you're familiar with credit attainment world, we find that the students that come to us from the comprehensive schools, especially for our credit attainment school, are here for a reason. And what we have found is that with these issues, that one of our mottos is that we have to try to find ways to do things differently, because our students are here for a reason, because unfortunately where they came from, it wasn't working for them. And this could be a variety of factors. I could go into family issues and all sorts of stuff. But that is a big issue. And so within this realm of lack of attendance, motivation issues, we find that students are in need of a different type of learning. So what we want to share a little bit, and I want to share for you guys, is just a little bit about how Learning Genie has been able to fill some of those gaps and meet some of those needs. Because as this slide says here, it's not so much a content problem, it's been a relevance problem. And what that means is that what we've found is we're looking for ways to engage our students in real world issues, real world problems, finding opportunities that our students can use things like project-based learning and career-connected learning to connect with community partners so that their learning can actually feel very relevant. So if you look at the next slide here, you'll see some of the things that we are actually doing to engage our students. PBL has been a foundational piece of our learning. Project-based learning is students completing projects in the different classes that involve not only research, but involving connecting with partners in our community. We have CTE pathways. Many of you that are listening to this webinar might be familiar with CTE pathways. And our CTE pathways are unique and distinct in their roles. We actually have 3 CTE pathways at our school. We have a multimedia pathway that does everything from photography to videography to making school videos. We have a logistics CTE program, which gets kids certified on things like forklifts. We have an actual working warehouse on our site that gets deliveries and shipments, and our students work with partners like Amazon and the Gap to build their skills. And actually, this is a school to job pipeline we're building, where we're having these partners connect with our students so that when they graduate, we call it a diploma plus. They're not just graduating with a diploma, but they're graduating with certification so they can go right into the job force in a lot of ways. And these partners like Amazon, like Gap, become places where the students can slide right into positions, because these students are now trained in things like logistics and being able to work these forklifts. And these are skills that, it's vocational. It's the old school vocational, if you remember from back in the day. It's just been kind of relabeled. And then our third pathway that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later is our emergency management pathway. Students learning emergency management, working in FEMA, 9/11 response. We're going to talk a little bit about that, and specifically how one of our teachers has been using Learning Genie to support his pathway. So if you look at this slide talks about the constraints that can be dealt with, especially from the lens of our teachers, as they're building units, as they're creating lessons, trying to find ways to engage our students. Sometimes the constraint can be, like you see here, limited time. How am I going to build this unit? How am I going to build these lessons? How am I going to find ways to engage my students when I have all these other things I'm trying to do? Hard to build full units. Can be difficult to adapt sometimes. Creating units that have flexibility. One of the things that is an issue with our CTE pathways and has been a concern at our site and in our district is that our CTE teachers who get hired, they come with industry experience, right? A lot of them come with, they've been in the business world or they've worked in this area of industry, but they only have a 1-year credential. So their credential is pretty quick and it involves no student teaching. So they come to us and they're placed in a classroom with, 20, 25 kids, and they're kind of trying to learn to teach in real time because they haven't had that experience. They haven't been able to work with that mentor. And so it creates a lot of different issues. I'm the literacy coach here. I've also been a teacher for almost 30 years. So I have a lot of background supporting teachers. But this specific case is unique in that our CTE teachers need a lot of help because they could be placed in a subject that maybe they have a lot of industry experience, but now they're being asked to create units, right? And lessons. And how do I do that? Where do I find units on logistics? Where do I find lessons on FEMA and emergency management so that I can be doing the daily work of teaching these students in this subject? And so, and yes, yeah, absolutely, Valerie. And that can be intimidating for experts in their field. So Learning Genie has been able to fill a huge gap in that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over to Gene. Actually go back a couple, who's going to talk a little bit about how it works.
Right, yeah. So literally, there are very few steps, and this is a agentic AI tool. So bear in mind, right? So there are so many design elements about highly effective and high quality units. But the two is very, very simple to first of all understand, right? The unit description. What are the backward design? What are the big objective you want to hit, right? The subject area, grade level, and also the standards. So there are two ways, right? So you're able to learn from the unit level description. We can do automated adapting standards, but also if you have a scope and sequence on all different grade level, you are able to use that as well. But the beauty of that is that it can be built into interdisciplinary, especially we talk about CTE. Use that example. There are lots of knowledge right within a pathway, but there are also professional skills like critical thinking, problem solving that are specifically listed in all those CTE standards that are very rare, right, being embedded. So how we are able to build units that incorporate different skills, right, and also including the cutting edge latest knowledge from each program, right? So then after they configure, they will go will be fully built that, and I think Tony will be able to show you a little bit about like a real program about FEMA. But also we will have opportunity today, right? Everybody can we can open that up. If you have interest, we can also build that together. So this is of one quick view about okay, what does it do? So literally, we fill a small form, right? Usually, I know many of you like use ChatGPT, right? Gemini, we build units, and so here's very much like organize a way to ask about, hey, prompt you about the big idea, right? The objective, how many weeks, right? What are the subject areas? So there are a lot of people do have a portrait of graduate, right? In many states, they are championing right those skills, but also we can set up in a way it's more like in online learning environment or in person, so you can actually have a different flavor. For online, it will be more calling the tools, right? Building the links, but really in person. Sometimes a hybrid, right? For in person, it will be minimized, like a lot of screen using, but also it will be more hands-on prop and encourage students to do the discussion, right? Use low tech, but really still also engaging. Yeah, so here it's more like it will be generating. We'll show you very quick, right? Generating the big idea from big idea to hey, a unit level. But we are actually one big thing we're championing is trying to localize. This is especially useful as a one pedagogy called place-based learning, right? One generic, right? Can be one generic content, right? If they are placed, put into a more of a context into a local area, then the piece will be immediately turning to from generic into hey, incorporate local culture, or sometimes when you do science project or you do CTE, you'll be putting your local like employer for the CTE pathway, right? Talk about all those important aspects for that particular pathway that related to your to this particular course. But also, we also add some elements of a gamification, trying to make the student like do take on a venture, do some exploration, yeah. So do some hunting process, right? So treasure hunt. So more like even though maybe a lot of us are working with bigger, like more like high schoolers or high maybe college students, but those are still useful, right? Gamify the learning is still useful. So that's actually populate, right? So it's more like this is design your future, introducing into digital marketing, personal branding. It's more like a CT in a business part. So they are actually showcasing, right? So we can review that and then go to next step, design. We're able to design a weekly idea, right? So break that down. It's more like similar to the backward design process. You have a big idea. What are the standards you want to cover? Uh, it can bring like backward design with different week, how many session per week, and they can always edit, right? Oh, these are the sequence of the standards, how I'm going to cover that, right? And after that, it will be fast forward, right, to go to the next step, right? Building your digital identity, right? Digital marketing, data-driven decisions. This is more of a weekly theme, a weekly big concept to be covered. And then we can further break that down into small like week days, right? How many days they're able to do. And eventually, I want to fast forward a little bit, you will be able to build the full the entire lesson, not just what you see is more like a more like a orchestration about a big idea, but we are able to build all the teacher slides, the student material, and in a very engaging way. I want to move to next is so back to Tony about case study, right? CT pathway emergency management. I want to show you a walkthrough, right? How it's being built. Yeah, you want to go next? You want to
Yeah,
share from
so
here?
thanks, Gene. So yeah, in just a sec, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And what I'm going to share is an actual completed or built unit from one of our CTE teachers by the name of Eric Self. He is the one who actually teaches the emergency management CTE pathway. And his story is like I shared with many of our CTE teachers, where he came in the fall and he had really no K-12 teaching experience. He had his credential. And so, his challenge was, how do I build a curriculum? As many of you know, especially in the CTE world, they often don't come with this is a traditional book, right? This isn't a history class where you get the textbook. CTE classes they can be organic to a certain extent in terms of how to create curriculum. And so the challenge is like we talked about, jumping from an industry expert with 1 year of schooling about teaching to being able to be someone who can be strong in pedagogy. I guess I'll just say that, right? There's a gap there. And so that's the work. And that's the place where Learning Genie came in and began to fill that gap for him with the creation of not just units, but specific lessons that had the links that were needed. And I'm going to share a little bit with you right now on his. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right. Let me know if you see this. Valerie Jean, does it show up, the Learning Genie Unit Planner?
Looks good.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is one of the main landing pages for Learning Genie. And when I'm done sharing, we're going to kind of go backwards map, where Gene's actually going to take you guys through kind of a build process. Well, you'll be able to build one on your own, I believe so, Gene. You'll kind of walk them through that afterwards. But what I wanted to do was show you kind of the finished product first. So we'll peek behind the curtain, right, of the wizard here and kind of see what it looks like after one has been built. And one of the things you'll see right here is kind of in this middle portion, there's a search bar that's created where you can actually search units at your site, district curated units. I can search within my site, if you see this drop down right here, teachers who have created units. I can look for specific ones. So this kind of becomes a share feature almost with the Learning Genie platform, where teachers could view other units that have already been created and maybe pull ones of their own. Maybe if it's a teacher in a similar subject or something that has been done, hey, check out what Learning Genie did for me. You could pull up these different teachers' units. So for this case, I pulled up Eric Self, and you'll see this right here. His name is programmed here. And Eric has a total of 20 different Learning Genie entries he's created. So just these ones down here, as I scroll, are all of Eric's, okay, specifically using this feature that has been built into the Learning Genie. So I'm going to click on this first one right here, this week 11, most recent one. And again, like I shared with you guys earlier, he is teaching the FEMA, the Emergency Management CTE course at our school. And so when I click on this, you will see that in this case, he has a unit that Learning Genie has helped build for him for this 9/11 dispatcher training. And just to give you a little background, we've purchased actual simulator lab material. And so what you see on the screen here is actually really what we have, where students will be simulating being 9/11 emergency response operators, and they will learn the vernacular, how to speak, how to respond to different emergency situations. So they're building a skill here within this pathway and ultimately gaining certification. These students have also visited various 9/11 dispatch facilities in our area to kind of see what the job looks like. But when we're talking about teaching the students in the class, this can be daunting, right? For a teacher who's in his first year, how do I build this out? How do I build the day-to-day? And that's where Learning Genie came in and really fit the mold. And as Gene shows you very soon here, how to program the different parameters, the variables, how to enter the variables so you can create a unit that looks like this, you'll see that obviously looking at the date, this is very recent that he's been working on this. It's been updated as recent as June 8th. He's got his group that's been programmed in, his age group. And this one's kind of interesting. You'll notice where I'm kind of circling, it says in person. One of the unique things that's been built into the Learning Genie platform that Gene will share is that you can choose whether the students you're teaching think from the perspective of a teacher. You can choose whether your class is an in-person class or whether it's an online class. If you remember at the start of this presentation, I shared that our school is a hybrid of both, right? We have students here that are actually students coming to our credit attainment school, but we also have 700 students who are attending remotely with the teachers who, so, and the point of that, you might say, well, what's the difference? Well, think about it. Let's say the Learning Genie produces a specific lesson that involves a gallery walk. Well, that's going to be really good for an in-person class, but think about some of the challenges that might be involved for an online class with something like that. So that's why you might toggle and say, well, I want this, the Learning Genie and the AI to build a specific unit for the online class. So that might remove something like that and build in a different type of a lesson that would work virtually, if that makes sense. So that in-person little toggle here, that's an important one that Gene will show you. And so I'll be brief here because Gene's going to go into some of the details here, but what you'll see here is a unit overview that was built here for Eric. You'll see the length of the time that he programmed. This specifically is a 1 week kind of mini unit, looks like, with 5 activities. So if you click down here on weekly planning, you'll see that after it builds it, and by the way, when you build a lesson or a unit, after you put in all the variables, I mean, I'm talking it's done in 10 minutes. You can build 3, 4, 5 weeks of curriculum in 10 minutes. And the great part about it is that it's not just curriculum with words, but you'll see right here, here's his 1 week, right? And I've scrolled down to the specific week, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You'll see that the question of the day is built in right here for each day. What are we working on as students? What is our focal point around this idea of 9/11? And then what are the activities? And this is where Learning Genie really, you get the most bang for the buck, is it's, because if you were to go to ChatGPT, you can build similar types of structures. You can build units, it can tell you what to do. But where Learning Genie really enhances, or really, I would say, upgrades over these other Geminis or something like that, is they include the attachments for each specific lesson. And when I mean attachments, I talk about PowerPoint presentations that are built in real time. I'm talking about things like, we'll talk about Edge of protocols, which are actually activities, links for activities. I'm talking about links for reading or literacy specific passages where you can click on a link and we're going to read this, and it's already all built in. So if I were to click just on this first day, this Monday, says 9/11, what would you do? Interactive scenario kickoff, right? So now here is a lesson that's been built within this unit, right? Tells you how long you have to prepare as a teacher, tells you how long the duration of this lesson is going to be. So this is built for a 40-minute. You've got standards, objectives, materials. You have your implementation, which is great. But now, if you see down here, you see links. So now it's building links to specific activities, student-ready activities. You've got slides that were built, boom, done. I would call it a one-stop shop almost, right? That has been built in real time for this entire day. And this is a very unique concept. And this is what we love here at Farber about Learning Genie and how it's become such a support for our teachers is that they are able to use this resource, this Learning Genie resource to build daily lessons, units with attachments, with links that can be plug and play, ready to teach, and also editable. This is not fixed. There are ways, and Gene can even share how you can go back in and you can edit things, or maybe you want to change a little bit here or there. But this has been a great resource for us. And again, this is just one day, a lesson created. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of whet your appetite, give you a little preview of how it's being used by our teachers here at Farber. And again, when I say emergency management, CTE, that's just one teacher, one pathway. You might ask, well, what about your online school? Yeah. I just spoke with an online teacher this morning. She's an ELA teacher. She teaches in our 11th and 12th grade. She teaches online 100%. And she was just telling me this morning, yeah, I was using Learning Genie to build a couple units out. So this is not just something that is limiting itself to our CTE teachers. It's actually, and this is a teacher, by the way, that I was talking to this morning that has 20 plus years of teaching experience. So she has curriculum, is what I'm saying. She has curriculum, but she's still using Learning Genie because it's not only, it's kind of enhancing her own curriculum, really, is what it's doing. All right. Gene,
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to you, bud.
Sure, yes. So actually, I sent a link. So it's more like going to our website. So we do have a more it's more like a free tool for you. And also today we'll also share some of the more units you can use. Especially you can also use that for if you do have teachers planning for the next school year, right? For this even summertime. This can be a very good way. So it's a free sign up. You can all like sign up, go to like K-12. So it's an early learning process because we are able to cover from actual pre-K right to 12s. But if once you are using that link and we are able to, I can guide you. Okay, so building maybe something from scratch and it can be very easy. You can have a two screen, like you can watch me once you log in. I will give you some time, but really it's relatively straightforward. Okay, so literally you can. There's an exemplar, so you can click, but also you are able to build your own. I encourage you to use your own, but I click on exemplar it's more like from farm to table. That's typical more like a concept it's more like from science unit. You can use that for science, but it's actually interdisciplinary. But from the state standards, here, I know if a college level, we probably you don't select any standards, right? But I would say if a K-12, so we map to all the CTE standards from K-12 and also the K-12 standards from all subject area. So we selected here's from subject area. You are able to free toggle here like science, right, and GSS, but it's not limited, right? You can build in health education, right, nutrition for this, but also you can build like ELA or multiple units. So this is very good in building the multiple like interdisciplinary. So if you are going to interdisciplinary, this is the way to go. And also it's a big piece about student voice. So here we're championing a very new concept, right? So it's not you are about engagement or why things are engagement. Not you just build something. You want to tap into student idea. So there are lots of examples. Actually, even like for Farber School, for Riverside School District, teachers are using that to encourage students come up with their idea. Even if they have a main topic, they can come up with their subtopic area. So that involves student be the owner of the learning. So actually they can articulate their thoughts, their idea. So more like here's a place where they are able to enter their voice, right, and the choice of what kind of subject what are the topic area, right? Subtopic, the question they have. So the more you are prime student involved in this process, they are more intrigued, right, by what they are going to learn. And most of the time, when we are seeing that, is that students, when they finish the building together, like co-design with teacher, they are all looking forward, right, to the unit because they have a say, right, but also they're being part of the creator of the whole learning experience. Um, yeah, this is more like we can choose virtual class, but so here's more like you, if it's a remote, you cover the whole, it's more like a virtual online school, you cover the whole country. You may actually, sometimes you're able to, hey, we want to bring this unit into toggle, maybe different students from different area. Hey, we can build that across your area, maybe for the 4 units we're going to cover, we're able to build across, and then let's have a flavor for your hometown, from where you're from. It's actually, I think, a very unique way. But also, so this is more like useful, especially for school district. If they do have a local physical, they can bring the unique flavor for, hey, about farm to table in California, in Carlsbad, we are located in Carlsbad, but we want to make it into virtual. So here we do have a selection for partial graduate. We mentioned about in many of school districts now they're championing, right, the critical thinker, problem solver, how to embed those into instruction. So more than ever, right, and most of the charter school, when they are like they are more a lot of innovative charter schools, right, they are trying to bring, like, be a good communicator, be a good innovator, critical thinker into the design of the instruction. So that's what we are thinking is so important. In many states, you already have state level. So we are treating that as an enhancement for executive function, right? Not just the skill, the content you can pass a test, but these are the essential skills that eventually will, it's more like a life skill or towards for future career. Those are skills people are looking for. So how we are able to build that, right, with small activity that supports student. Okay, so once the form is being filled, we can do like 2 weeks, right? Okay, this is how we just use that example. So here is the overview. These are the area about what are the materials, right? So we are going to produce per unit per lesson level. So have edge particle is more like the student facing slides. So literally we partner with edge particle team, which is getting more trendy. If you haven't heard about them, right? Edge particle, they are selling probably 10 very popular books about different templates, how they engage students in high yield learning, even for in classroom, for virtual, it's very effective. Also, like it can include reading passages, right? Formative assessment, UDL. Those all probably are very useful, right? To support any students with different needs, right? Okay, then we'll go continue. So this is if you are able to register build yourself, it's the same, very simple, right? Just fill the form with your big idea, right? Using UBD, right? Design, understand by design, backward designing. What are the big objectives? What are the learning you want to do? Like just fill the form, then you can go to next step. But typically, we can read that it's from farm to table unit, right? Discover how the food makes its journey from local farms in Carlsbad and surrounding North County, San Diego. That's where I am. But if you put your hometown, it will be different, right? So if you put you can also simulate, okay, for a certain unit, we want to do that in a context in New York City, right? In Silicon Valley, right? Especially teaching tech. Okay, well, let's look at what Silicon Valley big tech company, what will they do, like for different, more like a engineering topic, right? But here it's more like about farm to table in Carlsbad, North County, San Diego. They talk about growing, right? Planting, growing, and preparing food, and talk about like here, strawberry fields. That's where I'm very familiar with. We see that we drive through all the way, all the time, and coastal agriculture. So Carlsbad is in San Diego County, is a coastal area. So likely we are putting a lot of local context within. But here are some of the related concepts the student will do and also skills they are building. So we are applying a lot of life skills, right? So literally, if you put part of graduate, like critical thinking skills, also like really be an innovator, good communicator, you can all weave that in, right? So AI is actually very good in understanding those different priorities. And then here, right? So literally, we'll come up with big concepts and also the guiding questions. So if students are able to contribute more ideas, more questions, so this place will be more geared towards their questions. And if you do have you see something you want to change, so you have to edit it one by one, which you can, but you can also chat with AI. Okay, I want to add certain elements. I don't want to have a field trip. I do not like the idea you put together. So you can just chat with AI, and it will just enhance for you. So it will change building towards your needs. And then go next. Okay, we will be able to show like it's a 2 weeks. So continue design with the instructor. Uh, so likely you already have your content. It's useful, which is fine. You can also incorporate all the time, but you can also try something new. It's more like, hey, yeah, I can building with the local right place-based learning, and also you can build more like interdisciplinary. Here we do have science standards, right? Also ELA standards as well. Um, so these are the first week is seeds, soil, and local farms. The second one is from field to fork, right? From farm to table. And then if they look good, right? So more like these are part of graduate you can select, but also here are all the standards you are able to adjust, right? You want to change, you have emphasized certain standards. You want a key standard, you want to repeat multiple times. You are able to emphasize from multiple weeks as well. But usually it's building with a good scope and sequence with the scaffolding of the standards with the concepts, right? But here it's more like a continuous build with the concept, right? With the different reading passages, right? With different lesson. And so a big part of that, I just want to, when you look into this, especially the title, right? So it's more like where the gamification comes from. Is actually we just ask, okay, as a background, okay, want it to be more gamified, right, with the content area. So which type of gamification strategy you can use. So here you can see it is using like food adventure, right, digging into the language of farms, and what makes a plant grow. So natural resources, and from soil to superfoods. Yeah, so we want always trying to make it a little bit more like exploring, right? Hunting for something, like trying to get some adventure. But here, you can fully like edit, right? So enhance it with maybe modify the standards as well, right? Just to reinforce certain key standards. But I want to show you very quick about this. It's actually moving forward. It's actually building the whole thing for you, which actually takes literally a very short amount of time, but you have all the materials with you. So here, yeah, so we are leveraging on the best pedagogy, and also, but we the next version. So actually, we are building a new version that you can select, right, different pedagogy for. For example, here's an edge protocol, but you have a gradual release, right? We do, you do, I do, we do on virtual, right? On virtual, but also there are 5E. So those are all can be applied to different sessions. So what we are showing you is more like, hey, this is local, right? San Diego farmers market. So they are able to kick off the unit by exploring their food, where they come from, their experience, right? Local farm, and also through collaborative digital activities and open-ended questions, they will spark try to student will show this curiosity, right? Share wonders and begin to map out the ideas for growing, harvesting, and teamwork. So this is can yeah. So it's actually can be pushed. The slides and everything can be pushed to a Google classroom. So it's actually in yeah, it can be perfect for virtual. So we actually putting all the sources, right? So from farm to table, it can be the sources are actually from like from NASA, Dexter, PBS Learning. So it's not coming from Wikipedia. It's all coming from real places. But I'll show you. Actually, this is slides like in lots of teacher for virtual learning. They're pushing, right? So literally the same thing. They can open up, right? The open-ended questions, uh, but also the students can collaborate on Padlet from using other different tools. But teachers are able to like they can all share their experience. So this is more like a kickoff the meeting, right? So they can do activities, but also they are able to using poll and chat, right? So more like uh, uh, yeah, more like how to guide students, right? About online virtual activities. Um, yeah. So this is more like the easily for them just to push to yeah push to them. And here we actually completed also the soft skill, like partial graduate, how a teacher will do the curriculum innovator, not just we embed that, but we give very specific activity idea, even for like in online and in person. So literally how they like, for example, use a screenshot to display several unique sketches or written ideas from students' paper, encouraging others to build on, adapt their idea by adding their own creative twists in the chat or on the Padlet. So it's more like building on top of the students' idea. Maybe if they are working on the paper, they can still like share the idea on building on top. So those are how teachers are able to teach soft skills, right? Those pure partial graduate skills. But here also we are building the formative assessment. So for teachers who are launching that, you can upload to different tools, right? So for booklet, right, booklet or like game kit, right? So you are able to do all those tests. They can learn from that. Yeah, so those are literally we are finishing building the whole unit as we speak. I want to show you what does it look like. It's farm to table, 2 weeks unit, right? So it's actually we're able to cover, right? So you can see fully being built with everything. We're just going through one lesson, but that's actually all the lessons being built. So what teacher's job is more like a revisit. So go over the whole content, right? And also like if they do want to change something, they don't have to edit, right? They just chat with AI. I want to change the duration. They can also change different standards, right? And they are able to, hey, certain, I want something, certain materials I don't have, right? I don't have those software. How I can use my software? You can chat into this enhancement. It's actually will try to build for you. Yeah, so yeah, so that's actually a full lesson. So all the student slides are being built. You can push directly to the Google Classroom or to them, right? So they have a link. They are working on building their own think slides are built. Draw a picture, put a paragraph, and put a word. Uh, yeah. So in a nutshell, we have demonstrated. Okay, so literally online learning can be I would say just engagement in a whole in general is hard. So, but we use different strategy, right, to build the localness, building with your voice, and also help teacher who are so hard, right, to find good high quality resources like CTE teacher for STEAM classes you want to do. You can build interdisciplinary units. Yeah, you can. Yeah, so that's how you're able to push that. And I want to go back to the slides. It's actually, if you do building your own, we do for this today, we have actually the code. So that we really want you to like really have something take away. So the tool is free. So lesson plan is free. But for unit level, we have 4 units for free. But if you use the code USDLA, then you will have multiple. You have 4 more units that actually can cover. I just put the USDLA here, so you can cover more like you are building the full semester. Right? If you do have some new teachers, you can use, but also you can share this code for your other coworker as well. If they do have a new teacher want to open a new class, right? New maybe new STEAM units, use STEAM learning or CTE, they can all do that. Yeah. Uh, with that, I want to thank everyone to be participating. So we are here, so answer any questions you have.
Yes, I think everybody's brains just exploded. They all just like, if they were on camera, we would see little puffs of smoke coming out. But first, Tony and Jean, thank you so much for being here. While people are getting their questions together, remember, please feel free put them in the chat if you're quiet, and if you would like, oh, like see the hearts are coming in. People are loving this session. If you have a question, you would like to unmute yourself and speak. We're a small friendly group, and I think we can manage that. But the two things I'll start. The two things I just absolutely love about it, because I do work with a lot of people who work with uh, those experts that Tony was talking about. That they know everything about the forklift, but they've never considered how to put together an effective, they can explain to somebody how to use a forklift, but it's a very different process to actually teach it in a pedagogically sound sort of way. And I think just the fact that this is for everyone, it's for experts. Like, this gets the expert in the subject to a nice place of training. And for he had his teacher, his English teacher, I think it was, I think that's beautiful too. Like, now she can see the benefit of the time she can spending with her students, that she doesn't have to manually grind through coming up with all these things. I love that. And I also loved, because I do a lot of work with some global partners, and just the fact that you're giving attention to localization of experience. And I think that's going to be so valuable too. When you were doing the example, I was like, oh, that'd be so cool to do the unit and then do it, say presented in the another location, so people could compare and say, oh, so what would be different about working in this location versus, I'm working for Amazon California versus Amazon New York City. It's going to be a little different. It's going to be a little different driving that truck through those crowded streets in New York, because I've lived there and I know what that's like. But I'm looking to see if anybody shared anything in the chat. I'm not seeing any questions pop in, but I'm going to pause and see if someone would like to share some thoughts or have a question. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. This is a new adventure for me, as it is, I think, for many of our attendees today. I learned a lot. So quiet today. Why is everybody so quiet? Makes me nervous. It's like kids, makes you nervous when they get too quiet, right?
I do have a question.
Yay.
It's just one. I'm sorry I missed the beginning of the session, but can this be embedded into Canvas like an LTI, or is it just a separate URL that we would have to put in the course?
Oh, yes. Actually, there's a yes, we are compatible with Canvas. Yes, the answer is yes. But in more like a field view. So there's student portion and teacher portion. Yes.
So an LTI integration, or is it a SCORM package?
It's a LTI. It's LTI
I thought so.
integration.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you consider, but both, yeah, so with URL, it's also simple for a teacher. You use Google Classroom, it's also compatible with that. Yeah.
Nice. I agree with Celine. There was a lot here. And yes, it is recorded for those who may have stepped in late. This is recorded, so you can go back and and have the experience of really
Yes,
diving
actually,
in and thinking.
we put the slides here so
Perfect.
that
Thank you.
so you should be able to access,
Thank you.
right? And also the code should be useful for the next month, I think. So yeah, the extra it's more like USDLA is the code for redeem for more units. If your coworker can use that, that would be also
Nice.
you can use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be happy to. We'll be spotlighting you all at the conference, even though you can't join us in person this time. We have slides, and we have things that announce your presence in the background. So if you don't mind, I will share that with them as well, and
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
get some more people having a great experience with you. All right.
Oh,
Yes, and you have a global audience today, all the way from
thank you,
Bangladesh.
Gabi.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Well, if there are no more questions, once again, I'm going to stop the recording in a second because sometimes a question pops in right after I stop the recording. People are a little shy about that sometimes. But just for those watching the replay in the future and for everybody who is here live with me today, and especially to Jean and Tony, two of my new best friends, because I am definitely going to stay in touch with both of you. I just want to thank you all for being here today. And I just look forward to seeing you all at a future USDLA event. Even if you're not coming to the conference, mark your calendars. You'll have other future webinars, but the first week of November, you may or may not know, is National Distance Learning Week. So the first week of November, we have an entire week of free programming. We were one of the organizations that started National Distance Learning Week, so we're very proud to have our programming every year. So mark your calendar for that, even if you can't be here for the other things. And I will see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.